My name's Rabbi Annie Lewis. I am at JTS in my office. I work now as director of admissions for the rabbinical school and cantorial school and Davidson education school at JTS. First met Emet when I was working at RRC. I was there in the role of director of rabbinic formation, and I had the role there from 2017 to 2019. And Emet, I think it was in their second year when I started. Yeah, so I got to know Emet as a student and as part of the RRC community. I remember sitting in my office and just talking about different job possibilities and internship and work possibilities and just Emet's passion and tenacity. I remember it being so profoundly moving and beautiful. So at the time when Emet was at the hospice there on Lombard Street, I actually lived basically on the same block. And so I would try and visit as much as I could. And if there were things I could help out with, just because of like geographic proximity right there. So we got to be neighbors for that period. But it was just, I don't know, just so beautiful and moving that everyone was able to share with Emet the impact that Emet had had on their lives and just being there and in and out of that room for that period, because Emet was strong, and even though he wasn't taking in nutrition, right, he was strong and he lived for a long time, and people just coming in and out and singing and holding vigil. So I just remember that too. There were just so many people there in the room over the months and weeks that he was in hospice. And but I remember the living funeral, and I remember how profoundly moving it was when we wanted to give, we knew that he'd always had this dream of becoming a rabbi, and that we were able to give him the title Rav Chaim, which was powerful. So I think it was just powerful, the meaning of the word Rav as teacher, and Rav as also can mean a lot. So both teacher of life, and we kind of gave the title almost as a blessing, that and an acknowledgement that through Emet's life, Emet was a teacher of life, and that Emet would continue to be a teacher of life and inspiration for all of us, even after his death. The family and Rachel and Emet's parents, and I knew Aunt Judy because also from Germantown Jewish Center. So remember some of those people, and then other classmates, often that I would be there, other folks from the RRC community or from Kol Tzedek as well.
How that effort started at RRC.
I mean, it was definitely student driven, so I don't remember all of the details of it, but I can still feel the impact of it. Their presence, right, was so strong. Remember also, right, I think Eli officiated at the living funeral. I remember that also because Eli had started school also when I had started there, and I remember speaking with them about it. What does that ritual look like? There was just this really intentional presence to support and hold and accompany Emet, do this livui, this spiritual accompaniment, and also just physical presence to help him across the threshold. I remember in the beauty and power of it, also feeling a little bit of sadness that those networks, why couldn't we build them as strongly before Emet was dying? Yes. That's also something I thought about a lot. And just, yeah.
There was a lot of people chaplaincy skills.
Yeah. That's interesting. Right. And a commitment to showing up in that way. Now that I'm also thinking back about Joan was involved, and Joan became that was sort of the first time we met, and then we had mutual connections, Joan became a really, really close person in our lives and our family, and took care of our kids. And the first time I think I really spent time with her was in Emet's room at the hospice.
Joan also has EDS.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
One of the titles for this project is connective tissue.
Mm, mm, mm. That's beautiful. I love that. The perfect title. A friend of mine who I grew up with at summer camp wasn't connected to this Hever, but I see she posts a lot about what it is like to live with EDS, and it's just she's gone through a really harrowing few years. And I imagine this being able to watch this to be really supportive for her also. And yeah, how did
And
you meet Emet? Remind me.
so Emmett and I first met, we were staffing the Keshet Shabbaton when we were roommates. We were staffing the same bunk
Hmm.
of teenagers. And it was very funny. The bunk was not accessible. It wasn't wheelchair accessible. And the bunk we were in was camp style.
Hmm.
Because it wasn't wheelchair accessible, we got switched to this was at Isabella Friedman.
Okay.
We got switched to the really nice section, hotel style bunks.
Yes, yes. They were excessive. Hard to believe, right? It's been 5 years.
Six years.
It's been six? Oh, right, because 2019. Wow, 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 wow. Oh, yeah, that's right. There was something just right, quite holy and mystical, and
Yeah.
right, feels like these stories in the Talmud of right,
Right.
the disciples gathering around. No, what does it mean to create those care networks, not only when someone is dying, but what does it look like to create sustainable care networks? I mean, in the pandemic, how much would be different if we were that committed to be present with one another. And also, I remember the blue Gatorade, the frost, the very specific. I forget the ice frost, light blue Gatorade. That was
Right.
yeah, Roxy being there, and yeah, and I think also for so many young people, like the first time, just being so close with someone who was dying, and that was profoundly meaningful and transformative for folks. And he was a Rav Chaim, a teacher
Right.
of life, a teacher of
And
more life. And what a blessing that his Torah is going out into the wider world. How to create communities of belonging where people are fully embraced and appreciated for their whole selves, where they don't feel like they have to cover, where they're embraced for who they are. I think something that was powerful in terms of having the living funeral, it was celebrating Emmett's life, but also making space for grief, inviting that into the process. Times there are spaces where grief is not as encouraged or embraced or let into. I think just how important it is to make space for grief. Everyone grieves differently. So to make space for the individual experience, but also to have that communal holding. And remember also Shiva. I think we went, maybe it was back at the hospice where Emet died. We did Shiva as well, anchoring it also in Jewish ritual and some creative ritual, anchoring the mourning and the grieving with ritual, with community, and making space for everybody to have the experience that is uniquely theirs to remember Emet and the Torah that he taught me and brought into the world. And yeah, so thank you for bringing me into this project and conversation. And no, thank you for saying that too. And I am remembering too, because in 2019, yeah, Yosef was struggling a lot with his health and things that just being a part of this network of support. And yeah, I didn't think to connect it, but I'm sure I think at the time too, right? It was really live for us in our home, like what it meant to be living
right.
in
And
a but and then thank God, right? So Yosef's surgery it would have been the fall of 2019, the end of October. Yeah, quite a journey. And I just also pray in this frightening moment in our country, like funding is being stripped away from things. And yeah, yeah, just to get to spend some time with memories and with the spirit and the Torah of Emet. So.